Hi, this video is going to review quarter notes, quarter rests, eighth notes, eighth rests. It's going to look at 16th notes and how to combine 16th notes and eighth notes. All right, so let's get started. First, we're going to review quarter notes. So if you'll look at the top, it says quarter notes, and it gives you how each one is counted. So you'll see where the beat lies. I use the number counting system. So 1 and is 1 beat. 2 and is the second whole beat. 3 and 4 and. Okay, so a quarter note gets 1 whole beat. 1 whole beat. Okay, you can't give a quarter note half a beat. You've got to give it a whole beat. Okay, so let's clap this rhythm, just the top line. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Very good. Now let's pizzicato the quarter notes. Let's pizzicato on the D string, D. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Very good. All right, now grab your bow. We're gonna bow the quarter notes. Make sure you use a lot of bow. And fast bow, right? A quicker bow, I guess I should say, than like a half note would get or a whole note, right? But the main point is I want you to make sure that you're playing those quarter notes all the way through each beat, okay? So here we go on the D string. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Very good. Very good. Let's do that again, making sure you're playing through the whole beat. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right, so you're not making them short. You're playing through the whole beat. Okay? Now, let's look at the quarter rests. So, a quarter rest, if you remember, looks like a little squiggle, right? And it each gets 1 beat, 1 whole beat, okay? Let's see, I'm gonna be able to make it full screen. There we go. All right, so each rest gets 1 whole beat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, when I have my students clap and count rhythms, I ask them to have their hands open, palms up. And if you have several rests consecutively, one after the other, then I just ask them to pulse that beat, the main beat, all right? So here we go. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so I'm going down on 1, up on and. Okay, let's do that again. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Awesome. Okay, we're not going to worry about like getting our instrument or, saying let's pizzicato or let's bow because there's nothing to do that with because it's just rests, right? Okay, moving on. These are quarter notes and quarter rests. So make sure that you give each quarter note its full beat and each quarter rest its full beat. Rests are just as important as notes, okay? So they get their full beat as well. You can't clip a rest and make it too fast, all right? So let's clap and count this rhythm. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Pretty simple, right? Let's pluck it or pizzicato. Ready? Up on your shoulder. Let's do open A. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Easy peasy. Now let's get our bow. Make sure that you have a good bow hold, all right? And once again on the A string, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Notice that I played through each quarter note. 1 and 2 and. I didn't make it short. Let's do that again. Really think about playing through the quarter notes. Okay, ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Great job. Okay. This next rhythm, we're mixing up the quarter notes and quarter rests. Ready? Let's clap and count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's do that one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Very good. Let's pizzicato. Let's do the G string. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right. I think we're ready to bow. Make sure you play all the way through those quarter notes and make sure you rest for the whole beat on those quarter rests. Here we go. On the G string, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Good. Let's do that one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Awesome. Moving on. So now we're looking at eighth notes and eighth rest. And this is all review. So if you feel like you need to go back and review something about quarter notes or quarter rests, you're free to do so. Just rewind it. And we're going to move on with eighth notes. So an eighth note gets half of a beat. That's why it's so important to subdivide those quarter notes, because when we start mixing up rhythms, then you have to make sure that each note is getting its correct amount of beats. Okay, just like you wouldn't want to be shortchanged at the store, right? If you gave someone, a cashier, $10 and your total amount was like $8.56, you are not going to want them to give you, because the change would be what? $1.44. So you wouldn't want for them to shortchange you and only give you like $1, or you wouldn't want them to give you 50 cents total change. You want your full amount of change, right? So eighth notes, you're going to give each one half of a beat. Half of a beat, all right? So these two eighth notes here, they are 2 eighth notes. This is not 1 eighth note. These are 2 eighth notes. 1, that's 1 eighth note. And then that's the second eighth note. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 eighth notes in this measure here, right? In this exercise, we have 8 separate eighth notes. Now, we attach them to each other by these bars up here, okay? And that is just a way that helps us to be able to read the music, okay? That's why we have them barred together, because it helps us to see where the big beats land. All right, so 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. So let's clap and count this eighth note example. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Very good. Let's do that again. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Awesome. Let's pizzicato. Ready? On the A string, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. All right, now let's move on with the bow. These are going to be shorter strokes, right, because they're eighth notes. So they're going to be shorter than the quarter notes. Make sure you have a good bow hold. We're on the eighth string. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Good. Let's do it again. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Awesome. Now moving on to the eighth rests. Now, remember just a minute ago, I said that each one of these are individual eighth notes, right? So we have 8 eighth notes here. This is what one eighth note by itself looks like. So I said that we attach these with a bar, so it's like somebody came through and broke the bar, and so that's why it's hanging there, okay? It's like a little flag, all right? It's just hanging there because it's broken from its partner in a way, okay? So that's 1 eighth note, so it gets half of a beat, half of a beat. This is an eighth rest. It has 1 little bar or flag, okay? And that's an eighth rest, and it gets half of a beat. Just like an eighth note gets half of a beat. Okay? Now for this example, I had all the eighth notes land on the beginning of each beat, or the big beat, the big part of the beat. And then I had each rest on the end of each beat, or the smaller part of the beat, okay? So I'm going to clap this for an example. If you want to do it with me, you are more than welcome to. All right, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Notice I still use my open hands for the rests, okay? If you're ready to do it with me, go right on ahead. Ready? 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. All right, great. Let's pluck it. Ready? Let's do the D string. Pluck on the D string. Here we go. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Very good. Now let's bow it. So you got to make sure you have a short bow that stops on end. You don't want to play through the end, because then you're giving the eighth note more beats, and you're giving the eighth rest less of a beat. Ready? On open D. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Awesome. Now, if you want a little bit of a challenge, this may or may not be a challenge, but I don't have this written out as an example. I want us to switch where the eighth note and the eighth rest are. So this time, I want the eighth rest on the numbers. I want the eighth note on the ands. For example, we're going to go 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. So you're clapping the eighth note on and you're resting the eighth rest on the numbers, the beginning of each note, okay? So let's clap that together. Ready? 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3 and 4 and. Great job. All right, I'm not going to make you play that one. That was just to show you how that could be there. Okay, I tried to video this earlier, and I tried to move my picture so that you could see this. It's an eighth note. It's on the and of 4. I'm going to have to leave my picture there because it totally messed everything up when I tried to take it off. Okay, so let's look at this rhythm. I like for my students to look ahead. Okay, so I've already told you that this eighth note here, my head is the note part of the eighth note. It's on the and of 4. Okay, so 1 and, rest on 2, and 3 and, rest on 4 and. Okay, so let's clap and count this rhythm with eighth notes and eighth rests. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Awesome. Let's pizzicato. Let's pizzicato this on the G string. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's pluck that again. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Awesome. Let's bow this on the G string. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's do it one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Great job. Let's move right along. Okay, this one is similar to the other, but it's kind of like flip-flopped, right? It's pretty much the same thing backwards. So look at the pattern. Notice where the rests lie, okay? Notice here that I've mixed it up, right? The rest is on 3 and. So we have 8th, rest, 8th, 8th, rest, 8th, 8th, 8th. So let's clap and count this. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Awesome. Let's do it again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right. Now let's pluck it. Ready? 1 and 2 and on open D, sorry about my dog. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's pluck that again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Awesome. Let's bow it on open D. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Great, let's do it again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Great job. Moving on. All right, so now we're going to look at eighths and quarters and what that sounds like, and then we're going to go compare it to sixteenths and eighths. All right, so now we're starting to introduce the 16th notes in just a minute, but let's just look at this. So we have 4 eighth notes and 2 quarter notes. So think about which notes are going to be short and which notes are going to be long. Okay, so you can think the 4/8 notes are going to be short, 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 and then the quarter notes are going to be long, long, right? So I'm going to play this for you, and I want you to listen, and I want you to see how I play it. So I'm going to play it on the A string, okay? So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, did you notice where I played it short and where I played it long? Notice again. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Some of you may have already heard about this in 6th grade. It's like pepperoni pizza, right? You may have come up with something else, and that's awesome. Good for you. All right. So now let's clap and count it. Ready? Clap and count. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Awesome. Y'all are superstars. Now let's pluck it on the A string. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Great. Now let's bow it. Ready? Short, 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 long, long. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's do it again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Awesome. Great job. Okay, so now look at the 4/16 and 2/8. So what is this going to look like? What is this going to sound like? Now, notice for the 16ths, I'm counting this 1 E and A. This is one whole beat. 4/16 notes equals one quarter note, right? So we're going to count that 1 E and A, 2 and. So let me clap it for you instead of slapping it on my leg, okay? So it would be, if my measure for nothing is 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? So listen to it again. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so those 4 notes have to fit into one beat, and it's got to be even, right? And then those 2/8 notes have to fit into one beat. So first, before we start with the bow, let's pluck it. Okay, ready? On open D this time. Ready? 1 E and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's pluck that again. 1 E and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Awesome. Okay. So, when it comes to playing 16th notes with your bow, all right, you are going to use your little hand muscles to move your fingers. Okay, so what I would like for you to do is hold your bow with 2 hands like you did back at the beginning of 6th grade, and make sure you got a good bow hold. This works best when you have a good bow hold, just like everything else with what we do. All right, so curved pinky, bent thumb, make sure it looks good. This is the time to fix it. All right, so I want you to just make little circles with the end of your bow. All right, okay, maybe your teacher before has had you move your bow up and down just by using your wrist. We're not using our arm. We're just using our wrist. It's like you're making little tiny circles with the end of your bow. Okay? This is the kind of, you're going to be using these muscles in your hand. Do you feel them? See if you can feel the muscles moving in your hand and in your fingers. This is where I want your motion to come from when you're playing 16th notes. Okay? You want to make sure that you are using more weight in your arm, but it's going to start here in your hand. Okay? So I want you to make sure that you're really focusing on these muscles. So you're using more arm weight, but it's coming from your hand muscles, not from like the upper part of your arm. Okay? So I want you to watch me as I play this. And again, well, let's play this on the A string. I know we plucked it on the D string, but we're going to play it on the A string. But I want you to watch and see how I move my hand. Okay? So 1 and 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 and. Okay? Hopefully you saw that the upper part of my arm didn't hardly move. Ready? And I didn't even open this until I got to 8th notes. 1 E and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 and. Okay? So let's practice it together. Here we go. On the A string. 1 E and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's do that again. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and. Let's do it one more time. Ready? 1 E and a 2 and 3 and 4 and. Awesome. Now, before we move on, you're going to copy me. All right? Just repeat after me. You're going to echo me. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And 2 and your turn. Awesome. My turn. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Ready? 1 and 2 and your turn. Great. My turn. 1 E and a 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and your turn. My turn. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Your turn. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Great. So now, hopefully you see the difference between what the 8th note and quarters sound like versus the 16th notes and 8th notes. All right? Now moving on. Now we're mixing it up. And I may just have to get rid of my, well, let's see if I make it smaller. Well, it's still not the greatest. So I'm going to get rid of my picture here. All right. So if you look at the screen, we have 2 8th notes, 4 16th notes, 3 8th notes, 4 16th notes. Okay, so let's clap and count this. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 E and a. Let's do that again. 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 E and a. Awesome. Now, I want you to think about something real quick before we pluck it and before we play it with our bow. How many 16th notes fit into 1/8 note? How many 16th notes fit into 1/8 note? All right. I want you to think about it. If you already know it, great. If not, we're going to go back to it in just a minute. But I want you to think about it as we pluck it and then as we bow it, and then I'll give you the answer. All right. So here are the 8th notes. We're going to pluck it. Let's pluck it on the G string. We haven't visited the G string in a while. So here we go. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and. Awesome. Let's pluck it one more time. 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and. Good job. Now with your bow, again on the G string, check your bow hold. Make sure your thumb is bent, your pinky's curved. Ready? Open G. 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and don't forget to use those little muscles in your hand. Okay. You shouldn't be opening and closing your arm because that is exhausting to play a bunch of 16th notes with your arm opening and closing. Okay, so just with the muscles, the small muscles of your hand. Ready? 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and. Great job, great job. So I said I was going to come back to the question. What or how many 16th notes fit into 1/8 note? How many 16th notes fit into 1/8 note? If you answered 2, you are correct. 2/8 notes fit into did I say 8th notes? 2 16th notes, excuse me, fit into 1/8 note. 2 16th notes fit into 1/8 note. All right. So if we wanted to, we could clap and count this. We could subdivide as we're counting so that we really make sure that each note is getting the right amount of beats and we're not cutting anything short. So if we were to do that, you would kind of have to ignore part of what's on the screen in front of you, but we would count 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Okay, now that's a little mind-boggling for you. It's okay, but you can practice subdividing. Subdividing is so important for us all to make sure that we do. So again, you can clap with me and count. We're going to subdivide all the 16th notes, or we're going to subdivide 16th notes, meaning we're going to count 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Okay, ready? 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Great job. All right. Now this is just the opposite of what we just did, right? So let's clap and count it. Ready? 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Great. Let's pizzicato. Let's do open D. Ready? Well, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. It's a lot of pizzicato. Let's play it with the bow. All right. Once again, make sure you're using those little muscles in your hand. Ready? The D string, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. Let's do it again with the bow on the D string, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. Great job. All right. Now, this rhythm is combining 16th notes and 8th notes. Look at it. Take a moment to look. Notice where the beats lie. Now, I went ahead, or not necessarily where the beats lie. They lie on 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? But notice where the notes lie within those beats is really what I mean. So 1E, those are two 16th notes. This is an 8th note. So it gets and because this is the second part of, or the second half of the beat. So and and then this is two 16th notes and another eighth. Two 16th notes, another eighth. Two 16th notes, another eighth. So two 16th notes is half of the beat. The other eighth note is the second half of the beat. And it's so important that you subdivide those eighth notes with the 16th beats, because you may end up, and most likely will end up playing it too short. So it would go 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. Okay? So clap and count that with me. Ready? 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a, 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. Okay, clap it again. I know it can sometimes be a little overwhelming. Let's do it again. 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a, 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. Okay, let's pluck it. Ready? Pizzicato. On open A. 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a, 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. Great job. Great job. Now let's bow it. You're still going to do the same thing, short bows on those 16ths, using your little muscles in your hand. Okay, ready? On the A string. 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. Let's do it again. 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. Great. Okay, and this one is similar, except for I switched all of the eighth notes and the 16th notes. So now the eighth note is landing at the beginning of the beat. The two 16th notes are at the end. Okay, so let's clap and count that. 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a, 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. Let's do that again. 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. Let's pluck it. Let's pluck it on the D string, open D. 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a, 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. And let's bow it. Here we go. 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a, 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. Let's bow it again. Make sure you're using those little muscles in your hand to move the bow on those 16th notes. Don't be opening and closing your arm like crazy, okay? 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Great job. Great job. So that concludes our video for today. And I'm sorry that we've lost my webcam video, but hopefully you were able to follow the last part. I just didn't want for all of the notes to end up getting cut off. So if you need to review any of that, be sure to rewind or come back to it another time. It's so important that you get this, that you're able to count and play these rhythms, because you're going to start seeing these a lot in your music if you haven't already. Okay? So thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day.